Planned reforms to legal aid in England and Wales, which the government claims would save £200 million a year, have come under fire. The former High Court judge, Sir Anthony Hooper, says the proposals risk destroying a system of justice that was the envy of the world. He said the changes would eliminate choice and prevent people from selecting a lawyer with specialist expertise. Let's go live to Westminster and speak to the Conservative MP Bob Neill, who sits on the Justice Select Committee. And is your government prepared to ignore the advice of Sir Anthony Hooper, a former Court of Appeal judge?
Well, let me first of all say I'm a former member of the Justice Select Committee, but I also spent 25 years practising as a criminal barrister. So I think I've seen some of this up front myself. Look, we've had a consultation which has just closed, and obviously ministers will want to consider the input into that consultation seriously. But it's worth taking a reality check here. I think some of the comments that have been made are, frankly, exaggerated. We have a very good legal aid system in this country, which we want to keep. But it's also one of the most expensive in the world. As you say, it's costing about £2.1 billion a year. Now, as with the rest of the public services, we need to make reductions in that. And I think it's perfectly reasonable to actually have a situation where everybody will still have access to a lawyer for anything that involves the loss of their liberty or injury to their health, loss of their home, any threat to their children being taken away, anything like that. Legal aid will still apply, and in criminal cases, what you will do is, of course, we will have still having people have access to a solicitor who will have to meet a quality mark. And we've asked the legal profession to sit down with the Ministry of Justice and work out what that quality mark should be.
But the point that Sir Anthony Hooper's making is that rather than having choice, people wouldn't be able to select a lawyer with specific experience, even if they passed a quality mark. Is he wrong?
I think he misses one of the points. The majority of those cases where people want a particular solicitor, in my experience, don't fall into that category. There are some cases where there may be a particular issue that the defendant has or that the case involves where you might want someone specialist. That's precisely the point I think that we can look at in the light of the consultation. But the vast bulk of the cases that we deal with are actually repeat offenders coming back and wanting the same solicitor. Now, should the taxpayer be paying for a repeat offender, sometimes a career criminal, to actually be having the solicitor of their choice? Or saying, look, we'll have a solicitor, certainly, okay, but it's going to be one who's passed a quality mark, but you can't expect us to fund that choice.
Let's look at the words of Lord Falconer, who said the effect of these changes is to remove 90% of firms that do criminal defence work, replace them with about 300 or 400, all of whom will be motivated only by money, not by trying to establish innocence. Is that a risk you're willing to take?
Again, I think Lord Falconer, A, overstates the position, and B, is in not a very good position to criticise, because actually when he was Secretary of State for Justice, he initiated a raft of change and recognises, on record as recognising, the need to reduce the costs of legal aid. He's not come up with a constructive alternative. Now, I suggest that we actually look at the results of the consultation. I think that we can find a system which guarantees quality, that gives value for money, and it's not unreasonable, I think, to expect that, as with all the public services, there should be proper value for money for what is a cost ultimately borne by the taxpayer.
Bob Neill, thank you.
Some breaking news. We've been telling you over the course of this afternoon about the allegations made against well, it was initially 3 and then 2 British soldiers to do with abuse of Afghan civilians. We've just been told that both of those men have been found, well, have been punished. The former soldier, the private, has been fined £1,000, while the officer has been reduced to the ranks after both men admitted abusing civilians during the Afghan conflict at a court-martial that was held in Germany. Worth saying, none of those people neither of those two, there were 3 soldiers originally on trial, none of them will be identified. They were just referred to as soldiers X, Y and Z on the basis of maintaining their anonymity for fear of reprisals.
Yeah, they were both admitted causing abuse to civilians in Afghanistan. One of them admitted forcing a young Afghan boy there to touch him. The second one pleaded guilty to racially harassing an Afghan man. But as Adam was saying, it was feared that their lives could be in danger if their identities were revealed. So they have not been, and that court-martial was in Germany a little earlier today.
It's 14 minutes to 4. You're watching BBC News, and these are this afternoon's headlines.
Simon McCoy there. It is 9 minutes to 4. Waiting times for accident and emergency departments are their longest for nearly a decade. That's according to research for the King's Fund. It says that in the first 3 months of the year, 6% of patients had to wait at least 4 hours. Doctors say it's proof of the serious pressure the NHS is under. The government says that in the last few weeks, A&E waiting times have been back on target. Our health correspondent Dominic Hughes reports.
8 rare Bronze Age log boats have been discovered at a quarry near Peterborough. It's the first time such a large number of boats have been found in one, well, probably first time that such a large number of really old boats have been discovered in one place.
You find lots of boats.
Find lots of them, we go to a
Head
marina.
loads. Yeah, exactly. Hundreds. Anyway, those ones, getting back to the bronze boats, are now in the hands of experts who will conserve them with the same techniques used to preserve the Mary Rose.